and welcome back to CCC. I'm Milana Prakash and I'm finally on the campus of IIM Ahmedabad. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about what are some of the factors to consider if you plan on retaking the CAT. Is the mental bandwidth issue. Now, the CAT is an exhausting exam. It is an exam that requires you to put in a lot of efforts, a lot of time, a lot of energy, and it is quite exhausting because you have to take a lot of marks, you need to analyze them, you need to do the same questions over and over again, and there is bound to be a lot of disheartenment that might just follow. Because you might not do well in a mock, one mock might go great, the other one might tank. So it requires a lot of resilience, emotional resilience that you need to display, and it is important that you become a little more thick-skinned when it comes to accepting results, because it will all work out in the end. That much I can promise. The second thing to remember when we're considering this is what the problem was in the previous time when you took the CAT. Now, a lot of times what happens is there is a reason, and you need to strategize accordingly. So one thing is that if lack of time was an issue, and if that was the reason you couldn't perform as well as you might have wanted to, then you might want to consider taking a gap year or maybe moving to a job that is slightly less stressful. Second thing is that if perhaps you had conceptual difficulties, then you might want to consider actually going for coaching or taking up some private tuitions or something of that sort to help you understand the concepts, which will in turn help you perform better. So that's the second part. Now the third thing is to build your CV in that 1 year that you're taking, the gap year that you're taking, or even if it is just moving jobs or picking up a role that is slightly less strenuous, you need to make sure that it adds up on your CV and that it shows and it comes across as something that has made a positive impact to your life. So whatever you might have done, whether it was moving a job, whether you took a gap year, you should have learned something in that time that you can talk about in your interviews, by which your interviewer can gauge that this is something that will add value to the classroom. I keep talking about this in all my videos, but I think one of the crucial things about interviews really is how are you adding value to the classroom if you're selected for the program. So you must always keep that in mind when you're doing any activity for your CV as such. So the one question to ask is, how has this impacted me as a person? And how has this added value? How has this transformed me as a person in such a way that I can bring this to the classroom and make a difference to my peers? Right. Now the last factor to consider is the financial stability part. Now while this is a very personal facet, I think it is important to always consider how you're going to finance your coaching or your MBA fees, how you're going to sustain your life if you plan on leaving your job, who's going to be helping you financially. So all of these are very personal facets that I'm not going to be talking about in detail because it varies from person to person, but I'm just saying that it is also important to consider your financial place on the spectrum and how you're going to manage it. So that's it for now on this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Good luck.